Hi, and welcome back to our channel, The Core of Life Life Lessons When Life Gives You Lemons, How to Make the Most Out of It. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing Lonely Girl. Lonely Girl is aimed at all the young women out there that are looking for Mr. Right and finding the wrong person instead. The Core of Life was designed around me sharing my experiences of some of the harsh, hard lessons that I had gone through. And I wish I had somebody like me helping me. So, in this segment, you're going to meet my two characters, Mrs. Corrine Niker, which will go as AKA Mrs. Niker, and Corey, the younger me. And in today's segment, we'll be discussing the lonely girl syndrome. We've just passed Valentine's Day, and I thought that this would be a nice topic to discuss on the woman that is waiting for Mr. Right. I just wanted to give some encouragement out there to the younger women that are waiting on their Mr. Right, and I trust that you will enjoy this segment. Hey, Corey, you're looking a little bit down today. Are you okay?
Hey, Mrs. Nika, how are you? Yeah, Valentine's is around the corner, hey? I don't know. I'm just feeling a little bit down.
Why are you feeling a little bit down? Would you mind sharing? Is there something that I can help you with, perhaps?
Help me with? I'm not sure anybody can help me with. Sometimes I just feel like, I don't know, like I'm a social reject.
A social reject? How can you think that you're a social reject? I'm sure you are just like being melodramatic about it. Would you like to share? I've got a few minutes before I go back.
Well, Mrs. Nika, you see I'm on the popular dating apps and I'm an attractive looking girl and I've got my pictures out there and I've got my bio out there and I just seem to be attracting the wrong guys over and over. I mean, they look great on the app. They've got a nice profile picture, they've got a nice bio going for themselves, they've got a hot body. But I don't know, it just doesn't work out. I don't know, there's just something about them that doesn't work out. They just don't tick all the boxes. I don't know, maybe I think sometimes I don't know if I'm being a little bit fussy about the whole thing. I don't know if my standards are too high or my list is too exhaustive. Um, but our pastor did say that we must make a list of the ideal husband that we want, and God will give us everything on the list. What do you think?
That's an interesting one. Well, what are some of the characteristics that you got on your list about your ideal partner? Like, what are like the deal breakers? What are something that you would say, you know what, this is going to be a deal breaker?
I don't know. I guess if he doesn't have a six pack and if he doesn't have that gorgeous masculine chest, I guess that would be a deal breaker. Oh my goodness, and he has to care about the whales and the rhinos because we can't be killing the whales and the rhinos. And it's going to be somebody that's eco-friendly because I'm very, very big into separating all the garbage, you know? So that's going to be a deal breaker for me. And it's going to be somebody that supports me in my career because I'm not planning to have a kid anytime soon. Look, I'm 22 years old. I got my whole life ahead of me. I'm not looking to settle down. I'm probably looking at having kids around my 40s because I still have to get my MBA and my doctorate that I'm working on. And it's got to be somebody that's willing to travel. He has to travel the world with me. He has to be open-minded, big on Greenpeace. I think that is some of the deal breakers. And I find like, some of these guys are so superficial. Um, they're like not big on recycling. I don't know. I just think, and he's got to have that. He's got to have a good sense of dressing. He's got to dress good. He's He's got to have that color coordination going and a 3/4 look going for the pants. I don't know. Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because my Corey, if you knew the things that I had gone through. So my husband and I are going to be married for 20 years. Recycling and caring about the rhinos is like basically at the bottom of the list.
What do you mean at the bottom of the list? Oh, it was easy in your days. I mean, y'all used to just go to church, see the person there, praise the hallelujah, and hook up from there.
I don't think it was that easy in our day, but I did think that being in the right social circles allowed us to find people that shared the same values. Mr. Naika and I, we hooked up after I'd finished college. So he was like my best friend, and it was a very platonic and a very beautiful relationship that we had in college. And he was such a gentleman, and he was so different from all the other boys out there. And it took me a few years to dawn after I'd finished college to realize that he was the one. So he saw wife material in me long, long before I could see wife material in myself. But I think for me, finding a person with the right values really mattered to me. And when I talk about values, I mean somebody that sees marriage as something beautiful and that's ordained by God, and somebody that understood that when I was dating him, that there weren't certain liberties that he could take with me when it came to my body. So there wasn't like first base, second base. This for me was saved for marriage, and somebody that really valued that. So I think with Mr. Naika and I, we both had very similar experiences while we were in college. I was the waitress for the ICC, and he was a waiter for one of these cafes. And in that process of waiting on people at restaurants, we actually learned the value of how much the education meant to us, because we realized, you know what, this is something we didn't want to do for the rest of our lives. Yes, it gave us an additional income while we were in college, but that definitely wasn't something that we were prepared to do and settle for. So we worked even more harder when it came to our studies. And even when we finished our studies, we really used that as motivation to push ourselves further when it came to finding a job. And I think for Mr. Naika and I, the most important thing was kids. And we realized that when we have kids, our marriage had to be very strong. And we didn't want them seeing parents that were fighting all the time. So that was very important for us in terms of our values. And this was something that we discussed long before we got married. Like, where do you stand on that when it comes to kids? And how many kids do you want? Of course, being in a relationship is very messy. Nobody has got it figured out. But the one thing I remember when it came to me choosing my life partner was I wanted somebody that was progressively minded. And when I mean progressively minded, I mean somebody that was learning, studying, educating themselves. Because sometimes you can be married to somebody who thinks they know it all.
Oh my gosh, talk about the guys who think they know it all. I mean, like you try to explain to them about Google algorithms and Bing algorithms and say, oh, we know everything. Gosh, that is so important. I understand what you are saying, Mrs. Naika. Yes, 100%. You got to marry somebody that is open to suggestions, open to learning, and also somebody that's got a strong value system.
Also very important when you're looking at dating somebody is to look at their family as well. Like, what type of family are they coming from? I find that a lot of young people that come from single parent homes, they already somehow got like the subconscious conversation happening in their mind that marriage is something that's not going to work out for them. That is something that they would have to work really hard at breaking and finding new patterns in the way they think.
Oh my goodness, I actually didn't even think about that.
All the single girls out there that are looking for your Mr. Right, just understand that finding somebody that share the same values as you is very important. Getting the most out of life's lessons.